Hi there, it's Asia. I've taken the IELTS exam 4 times and I want to tell you what you can expect at the beginning of this exam and how to make a great first impression. Okay, let's get started. You might know that IELTS examiners use 4 criteria to assess your IELTS speaking answers. And you may find all of them in the IELTS bank descriptors, but ultimately they assess how well you can communicate in English, how comfortable you are expressing your thoughts in English, and how natural you feel doing that. So don't think that you need to be creative or original. Don't think that you need to give complex answers, more complex than you would normally say. And don't think that your thoughts should be smart. That is not required and that is not assessed. Now let me tell you what you can expect at the very beginning of this exam and how to behave to look natural. You'll be waiting in the corridor for the examiner to call you and invite you into the room. When you enter, say hi or hello. These are typical ways to greet an examiner. If you say good afternoon, it's a little bit too formal and people don't really use that in English unless they're in a very formal situation, like a presentation. Just say hi, hello. Some examiners start the exam straight away, while others have a little chat with you first. For example, once the examiner talked to me for almost a minute and he asked me about my exam, why I'm taking it, what are my future plans, and so on. And only then he started the exam. While another examiner opened the door and said, "This exam is recorded." And so the exam started straight away. She didn't even say hello without the record. Your IELTS speaking exam will be recorded and the examiner will have this little recorder in front of them. So a good indication when your exam officially starts is when the examiner presses the button to start the recording and says, "This exam is recorded." At the very beginning, they will ask you several questions. The first one is, what's your name? And you can just give your full passport name without anything else. Asia Miad, or it's Asia Miad, or I'm Asia Miad. Nothing else. Next, they ask, what should I call you? Meaning, what name should I use to address you? Some people use a different name and some people use a short version of their name. So you can say, just call me Asia, or call me Liz if your name is Elizabeth, for example. Next they ask, can I see your passport? Just say, sure, or here it is. You don't need to be wordy. The next question is, where are you from? I could say, I'm from Kyrgyzstan, that's one of the republics of the former Soviet Union. Or, I'm from Almaty, that's the former capital of Kazakhstan. Actually, both are true. You could say, I'm from Rome, I'm from the south of France. Or, I'm from Delhi, but I've been living in Mumbai for most of my life. Just give a short answer. Don't try to impress the examiner. These questions are simply to collect some information about you. Be prepared that each examiner is different. Some are friendly, attentive, they show that they listen to you, they show that they understand what you're saying. Others are completely different. Your examiner may not even look at you. Your examiner may take some notes, or look down, or look out of the window. Don't let it get to you. They can easily assess your performance, but can you perform at your best if you get distracted? Just concentrate on what you need to do. You need to speak and answer questions. The rest doesn't matter. And be prepared that your examiner may interrupt you. They're managing time, so when it's time to move on to the next question, they will interrupt you even if you haven't finished your answer. In part 3, your examiner may even challenge you. He or she may interrupt you and say, is it always so? Is it always the case? asking you to prove your point of view. And perhaps it's a good sign, perhaps they think that you can cope with this pressure and your English is quite good. But whatever it is, these interruptions don't affect your score, so don't get upset about it. After the examiner has collected all the information from you, he or she will say, now I'd like to ask you about, or now I'm going to ask you several questions about, and give you the topic. That's the beginning of part 1. In part 1, you will get 3 topics, and only the first one is easy to predict. It will be one of these 4. Your hometown, your home, your family, or your work studies. And these questions are there to warm you up. So don't think that you need to give long or complex answers. Just give 2-3 sentences, and again, they don't have to be highly complex. You may be asked, what is your hometown? And some people get confused about this question. Basically, your hometown is where you were born or where you lived as a child. I could say, my hometown is Almaty. It's the former capital of Kazakhstan, and that's where I was born. This answer is long enough. Don't think that you need to give a very long answer to each question. No. I live in London and I've been here for 10 years, but London is not my hometown because I didn't spend my childhood here, you see? And maybe you lived in several different locations. Just pick one and talk about it. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. Now I'm going to show you another answer. Think if anything is wrong with it. The question is the same. What is your hometown? And the answer is, my hometown is called Almaty, and it is a magnificent city located in southern Kazakhstan with a population of over 1 million inhabitants. What do you think? Is it a good answer? It's much more complex than the first one, isn't it? The problem is, it's too formal for spoken English. It sounds like it could be written somewhere. It sounds unnatural. And the problem is that the examiner may suspect that that's a memorized answer. It's very important to speak naturally. And it's very important not to learn any answers by heart. Don't try to give answers which are artificially complex. In parts 2 and 3, you will have chances to use your more complex vocabulary and grammar much more naturally. The first impression still matters, and it's good if you can answer these first questions confidently. You can find out what questions examiners typically ask. You can get some ideas of what you could talk about. You could learn some phrases and some words to express yourself more precisely. Just don't memorize whole sample answers. And you can do all that by watching my other videos about family and home. Thank you so much for joining in today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!